Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into Buildify, a powerful add-on that makes generating buildings in Blender super easy. Whether you're a complete beginner or an experienced Blender user, this tutorial will help you get started and show you some cool tricks to customize your buildings. We'll go step by step, from installing Buildify to generating modular structure and even adding some advanced tweaks. By the end, you'll be able to create procedural buildings with just a few clicks. Before we dive in, I want to give a huge shout out to Pavel Oliver, the creator of Buildify. This is an amazing free add-on that makes procedural buildings generation so much easier in Blender. If you want to check out his other works or support him, I'll leave a link to the Buildify add-on in the description. Alright, let's get down to business. When you've extracted your file, all you have to do is open that .blend file. Okay, and then you have this. Let's switch to look dev mode or material preview. You can see we have such a nice setup. Another thing I want to let you know is this. You can see that our menus left from up down. That was because of how this geometry node was made. If you would want to like have your same setup, instead of coming up here and be adding all these layouts, adding all this stuff, instead of doing that, or right click and say click to the top, instead of doing all of this, it's a total waste of time. Okay, so you can go to edit mode, select everything, and then copy. Okay, so when you copy, let's create a new scene. Don't save, can delete all of this, and then let's paste it. So we still have, if you click on it and go to our modifier, you still have our geometry functioning very well. Now you can switch to geometry nodes, and then let's just pin this. So you see, same stuff that we can do, but we still have, we have our layout, modeling, scoping, and UV editing workspace. Okay, bravo. So now I can save this as my work. So yeah, I have my own version of it, and then the original file still remains. Whatever I edit here, if maybe I have over edited and maybe I make mistakes somewhere, I can go back to the original file and do whatever I want to do. So let's say, for example, you want to make your own building. How do you go about it? Fine. Let's move this collection to the modules. Okay. There should be a plane somewhere around here. Okay, yeah, that's it. Let's move you outside. Okay. So this, let's add the modules. Let's move it to the X, others, and then let's disable the plugin. You see, you can select and then bevel. When you enable the plugin back, I see, voila. You can go to edit mode. Let's disable it from edit mode preview. And then we can select here and then it to extrude in the y-axis somewhere around there, and then instead of tweaking this particular one, we can hide this, right? Let's add in a plane. Something you should take note of is that the geometry node setup is made in the multiples of 3. Yep, I showed you. So the width is 3, the height is 3. And then when I try to tweak it, it's so cumbersome, and I don't want to go into the trouble of showing you guys how to fix it in geometry nodes and yada yada and stuff. So I'm going to ignore this in this tutorial. Okay, so I'll just focus on that. So with that known, I can scale this. Since I say I'm working multiples of 3, so I press S to scale, and I'll do 7.5. Let me see. Okay, 15. Oh, I didn't turn on my screencast keys. Awesome. So I can go to edit mode and I'll select this, and I'll extrude in the y-axis 15, like I told you, multiples of 3. I can extrude in the X, let's say 9, multiples of 3, and I can extrude this some more. X is 15. Oh, sorry, Y rather. Let's extrude Y minus 15. Awesome. So let's do another one. Let's see Okay, let's take this part. Let's just go for the yeah, let's do that. So I'll switch to object mode now, and then I can add a geometry node modifier. And then I'll click on this icon here, and I'll click on buildings. Now you see we have something horrible. That was because I did not apply my skill. This lets you know how important it is to apply your skill in Blender. So I'll disable the modifier, and then I'll press Ctrl A. Let me just show you. I saying skill not applied, okay? So I'll press Ctrl A and now apply skill. Now it should work properly. So when I enable this, voila. You see? Beautiful. You can even, go into edit mode again and extrude in the X. Let's do minus. Yep. Let's see. Multiples of 3, guys. Take note of that. Okay, so let me unhide the other building, for example. So if I should go to my geometry node editor, okay, so in my geometry node editor, if I should turn off the prop density for it, you see it affects both of them. If you want them to be independent of each other, all you have to do is to click on this number here that says displays the number of users that uses data block. So if you click on it, now you see building.001, and if you click on this one is just buildings, okay? Now when you give this some amount of props, it does not affect this other one, okay? So with that, what if I don't want to use this wall, right? What if I want to use my own custom made wall? How do I go about using my own walls? Simple. I already have mine somewhere, but I'll still show you. Let me navigate to where I have it saved. Okay, so I have it open now. So you can see that there's a little balcony, okay? And like I said, I don't want the props because since I added this balcony, the props might interfere with the balcony. So I can go to my geometry node editor workspace, and then I will turn it off. Where is my screencast? Where is my screencast? Okay, so let me walk you on how I did the editing. Okay, so let me hide this and then unhide the modules. Now in the modules, if you look at it, you will see that we have ground floor walls, ground floor pillars, middle floor walls, middle floor pillars, and then roof details, yada yada, and those other stuff. Okay, so let's focus more on the middle floor walls. Let me just show you how I do this. Okay, as for one thing you can always do is to go to fab.com, okay, and you can download walls or whatever it is you want to. You can switch to free. But you can look for the kind of wall you want to download from fab.com, and you can download it, and then you can use it, you can import it here and use it. But the only thing you should take note of is what I am going to tell you now, okay? So if peradventure I want to let's say I want to make a wall, this wall. I already have this made. Let me remake this one since this one has windows, okay? So let me remake this one. This is middle floor walls, okay? So I'll bring in a cube, and then I'll scale it down. This should be 0.5. This should be 3. This should be 3. Remember, the plugin was made in the multiples of 3, okay? And then I'll move it up. I just want it above the grid, okay? Nice. Let me move it so that you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So now to get this kind of window, okay, how do I go about it? So instead of me, going to edit mode and, adding loop cuts here and there and trying to create the windows, I just I went to, let me apply my skill first of all, okay? So I went to my edit, preferences, add-ons, and I search for Archimesh, okay? And then enable your Archimesh. When you do that, you can come to create, and then let's add in a real window this time around. Here it is. So I'll just move it to the position of my wall. And then if I want to edit this window furtherly, I will have to click. Let me go to my Solid view so you see clearly. I will have to click to the window frame. The window frame gives me the properties of what I want in the Archimesh plugin. So on that, this should be the height. So let's say I want a height of 1.2. Oh, I did 1.3. Okay, that's fine. And then I don't want external frame. I don't want to create handles. Okay, let's leave it handles. Let's disable seals. What else? I think we're not doing Archimesh tutorial. Let me kind of get same height. Okay, this is cool by me. Okay, so I'm going to put it inside the wall. But I would want it to still be out. Okay, so let me click on the wall and then I'll go and add in Boolean modifier. And then I will target the control objects of the Archimesh. Okay, so when I do that, you see I will have a nice Boolean. But I want it some more inside. How do I do it? If I move, you see it's going to disappear. What I need to do is click on the control object. I'll go to edit mode and I'll scale it more in the y-axis. Let me see in the wireframe view, how does it look like? It's protruding too much inside, so let me move it some more there. Okay, so now when I go back to object mode and I move it in some more, voila, something like this is fine. Okay, so now I'll click on the wall and then I'm going to apply the modifier. So another thing I don't want to be visible is that now I should delete these objects, okay? But when I delete this and this, you see, it's going to pop out. That's because the window was parented to this. So I can select the window object. Let me select the window object. Make sure I did not select the wall. And then I'll shift select the empty. And then I'll press Alt P. And I'll do clear parent and keep transform. Okay. So now this guy is not the one that is driving the whole movement of the window. So when I delete it, you see, there's no form of movement. And I like this. So I'll click on the wall, go to edit mode, face selection mode. I don't want the backward face. Nice. That's cool. So another thing is to go to wireframe. I'll select everything and I'll make sure that the wall is selected last, which means it's going to show light orange like this. And then now I'll press Ctrl J. So that's going to be one object, because if it's not one object, I'm going to have problems. Okay. So I'll click on this one, F2, and then I'll copy the name. Okay. And then I'll come this one, F2, and then I'll paste the name. Okay. So yeah, I can delete this. So, before I delete, I want to tell you that the origin of the object matters a lot. Okay. So let me just show you first of all. So let me delete it. And then I didn't tamper with the origin. So when I go back and enable, you see, it is still using. So what the geometry node did, it's now using more of this one, because since this one is not found, it's using this one to replace it. Okay. So what do I do? If I want this one to show, what do I do? So I need to move this one to the middle floor walls, right? I'll move it there. And you see, the moment I move it, it's updated. But because of my object origin that was not properly fixed, you can see that I have some weird deformations. You can see I have space, okay? So to fix that, I know that the origin of the object is bottom here. So I'll go to edit mode, edge selection mode. I'll click on the edge here, Shift S, and I'll do cursor to selected. And then I'll go back to object mode, right click on the object, and I'll say set origin to 3D cursor. And the moment I do that, you see, properly fixed. Okay, nice. So let me hide this. Let me go to my material preview. You can see that this does not have material. So let's give it maybe some brick texture. Okay, window material plus material. Okay, so let's add in a material and let's call it walls. Okay, so I'll go to edit mode and I'll select the wall alone. and I'll press U, and I'm going to use cube projection. Okay, so let me switch to my shading tab, and I'll make sure the wall is selected from the material. I want to use the Easy PBR plugin. So just quickly select. So just quickly add in wall. I think I have some here. What do I have? Okay, here. So I'll select this one, and then I'll press add node group, and I'll say okay. So this is it. And then I'll select this one, shift select principal BSD, and I'll press Alt P to connect. And I do not want displacement map. It's useless on me. Let me see. Oh, so I'll go to edit mode and I'll press assign. Nice. But I also want to scale it some more. I think the brace is too big, most likely. So let's say 1.5. I don't want to do those mathematics. And then save. So when I go to my layer tab and I enable this, you see? Nice. Another thing you should take note of is if you use the glass material for the AccuMesh add-on, this material is transparent by default. So we don't want the transparency since we don't want to look into the house. So you can go to your shading workspace and then click on the glass material, and you can see that the transparency, I have already deleted it from here. If you not delete it, please do delete it. And then let me just, increase the fact a bit. Just it's hard. I don't want to see the I don't want the transparency to show, so I'm just, pressing a little bit let's say reflective kind of glass. Okay. So with that, you can edit each and every one of the building blocks here. Even the trim sheet, you can edit it. The satellites, the whatever we have here, we can edit each and every one of them, and they are going to work fine. Okay, nice. Okay, if you want to push Buildify a little bit further, right? Let's do some advanced stuff. Okay, so let me save this first of all, and then create a new project. Delete everything as usual, and then I would I want to use the Blender OSM. Okay, so what you have to do is come to Blender, or let's just search for BL OSM for Blender, and then you click on the first link, the Gumroad page, and just like I told you about getting the Buildify, you can come down and put in a figure, do same thing and get it. Unzip it, come to edit, preferences, add-ons. Because if I'm using 4.2, if you're using versions lower than 4.2, you'll see a big install button up here. Okay, so for 4.1 users and above, so you can come here and do install for digs, navigate to where you have your BLOSM installed, and when it's installed, click on the drop down arrow. Make sure you enable this if it's not enabled by default. So you click on the drop down arrow, okay, and then under the directory to store downloaded OpenStreetMap and terrain files, so you make sure you set a directory. So this is my directory I set. You can set any directory of your choice, no problem, okay? So I have this directory set, and then I'll click on the hamburger icon, and I'll click on Save Preferences, and now I can close this. So in my end panel, I'm going to open the BLOSM, and then I'll click on Select to take me to this web browser. Let's look for, let's say, San Diego. Let's look for nice populated area. If your laptop is not that strong, please don't take a populated area. It's going to cost you. So let's say somewhere around here is fine. So I'm going to click on Show Selected Rectangle. So let me take, let's just take somewhere small. I think I like this side. Okay, let's say I take somewhere like this, okay? So I'm going to click on Copy. So successfully copied. So now I can go back to my Blender and then I'll click on paste to paste that data I copied. And then under this, you can just click on import. Give it some time. Voila. See this? But we don't want this kind of data block. Okay, we don't want all of this. These are just geometry. What I want is I want to show you how awesome Buildify is. Okay, so I'll switch to 2D, and I don't want water objects. I don't want forest. I don't want. Okay, let's just leave the other vegetation. Let's just leave it. Okay, so and then I'll click on File, and then I'll navigate to where I have my Buildify. So I'm going to use the default Buildify before I'll use the one I edited to show you the two. And then I'll click on buildings. Under names, I'll click on buildings. Okay. So then I'll click on import. It's imported. Nice. Can you see? Cool stuff, right? As usual, you can also go to the geometry node editor and then you can, tweak the height. You can even go to the geometry node workspace and further do some editing. But like I told you, we're not going to touch the geometry nodes. This is not a geometry node tutorial. I'm just showing you how powerful Buildify plugin is. Okay, so let's say you want to use like the customize you made. Okay, so I'm going to hide this, for example. So instead of using the Buildify 1.0, I'm going to navigate to where I have mine created, and then I'll click here and I'm going to look for buildings. Yeah, buildings. Okay. And then I'll click on import. Nice. So you see, let's compare them. Let me move this to 1 point and then let me open the older one. You see, this is Blender's default Buildify, and then this is the one I edited. Let's go to material preview. And you see, so you can do so many stuff with this. Another thing I would want to let you know is that the road network, for me, since after I did some editing, I tampered with the Buildify plugin, so my road does not import. If I want to import the road, I would have to switch from buildings to walls, and then I have to press import again, and then the road will come. Yeah, here it is. But one thing I also found that is more easier for me is that when I want to make the road, I would start going to edit mode and I'll first convert this to a mesh because it's a curve by default. I'll convert to mesh, and then I want to start you unwrap before I can start applying textures and all that. But I found it more easier for me when I make the road myself, because I can actually delete the mesh since I don't need it. I can delete the mesh. And since I have all these, I can use them as a skeletal structure to make my road. If you want to learn how to make realistic road in Blender, you watch my previous video I uploaded, how to make road. So you can use that method to make the road. It's easier and faster to me, right? So you can use that method to make the road and all that stuff. So let's do a quick render, okay? So I'll bring in a plane and then I will scale it out. Let's just ignore the road for now. You can see when I do this, it's like some parts are grayed out. That's simple. Come to view and then just add in some zeros here, and then voila, you have that. So I'm going to apply the scale. I'm not going to add any textures. Let's just do a quick sharp and dirty render. Let's say I want it to be somewhere around here. Okay, so I'm going to bring in the camera. Okay, let's look somewhere around. Yes, fine. So I'll press Ctrl-Alt-O to snap my camera to view. And then let me just manually adjust it. Okay, and then I want to focus on just the camera region. So while the camera is selected, I'll click on the camera property menu. And then under viewport, under Parse Art, how do I pronounce this? Whatever the name is pronounced, I'll just do this. Okay. So let me save. Okay, so with that, I can come to my word settings and I'll click on color and I'll switch to sky textures. Let's enter in, rendered preview. And then I'm going to switch from EV to cycles. I'm going to use my GPU. Okay, welcome back. So Blender crashed. Okay, so I said I was going to, let's switch to my render preview. Okay, so we're in the word property menu and I said click on the color and switch to sky texture. Okay, so I want to reduce the intensity of the sun. So let me use something like 0.2. And then the strength, let's use something like 0.5. Something like this, and then you can render. I can see that the ground is not actually touching the base of the building. So I'll click on the plane, which is the ground, and then I'll just adjust it up some more. Okay. So another thing I didn't mention is this. Let me explain something for you guys. Let me open the modules. I want the modules. Okay, for the modules, because you can see that my pillars, under ground floor pillars, for example, ground floor pillars, you can see that my pillars, I edited them. So what you should do is that you should make sure that if maybe you don't want this particular pillar, you want to make your own pillar, that is also fine. All you have to do is you have to make sure that the pillar is in the same orientation with the one that you are replacing it with. Okay. And then another thing you want to do is that the origin should be same origin with the one you're replacing it with. Okay. Cool. And you should move it to the same folder, the same collection that you have here. Okay, so if maybe, let's say this, for example, I have made a pillar. You know what? Let me just make one pillar for you so you see. So what I want you to notice is that this origin needs to be at the base of this object, okay? So I can click on the new pillar, go to edit mode, select the pillar, and then I'll do shifters, cursor to selected, go back to object mode, right click, and I'll do set origin to 3D cursor, okay? Let me just do some tweaking. I say something like this is my pillar, okay? Right click, shade smooth, shadow to smooth, okay? Cool. So let's say I want to add some more pillars, okay? Because this collection is a 3-pillar collection, but I purposely deleted one and make it to, let's say I want it to be 3 now. So I already know the name before, so I'm just going to do same thing. The name is this, but instead of CC, it was CV that was there. So now I can save, okay? So if I want to show you something cool, guys, just a little bit advanced. So if I should hide this and open this, you can see that that pillar I created, it is nowhere to be found in our modules. That is because it is not in the collection of the pillars, okay? It is not in the pillar collection. So if where is it? I have it somewhere inside here. Okay, there you are. So if I want it to display in this our work, all I have to do is to move it to the same collection. I think ground floor pillars. Voila. And then you see it is going to be at its respective position. Okay. But if maybe okay, I want to show you another stuff again. Let me unhide the modules. Let's say these are the pillars I created. Let's say these are the pillars I created, okay? And they are here quite all right. So I can select all 3 of them. I can press M to move and I can say new collection. Let's call it my pillar, okay? And then I'll click on create. But when I go to, when I come here, you can see that no pillar has been visible, right? To fix that, in the geometry node workspace, middle floor pillars, under here pillars, okay? I can remove this and target the collection, my pillars. And the moment I do that, oh, that was middle floor, supposed to be ground floor. Sorry, ground floor, guys. So yeah, so when I do this and target my pillars, so you see, automatically it has replaced it. It knows what to do. Even if the name does not bear ground floor, pillar 001 or whatever the case may be, because the geometry node was built to search and find and replace items. The most important stuff is the collection. Must specify this collection like we did. Yeah. Specify the collection like we did. The geometry node to know that it can go inside it and just search for what it needs and replace it. But naming stuff is fine, it's good, because it will help you organize your work so that other persons can look at your setup and know what you are doing and what you are aiming for. I just remembered I didn't talk about something. Okay, let's say you have your buildings generated, okay, and you would want to, manually do some further editing. Maybe this side that you've decided to render, right? Let's say this side that you decided to render, you want to like tweak the building, you want to add some graffiti on the walls and, stuff like that. But once you do it to one, it applies to all of them. How do you go about it? Okay, because if you go to edit mode, everything disappears. Everything disappears. Even if it's here in, if you enable the edit view, you cannot manually do this, which means you would have to go back to the other Blender file I was telling you about. What I mean is that you have to go back to this one that has the modules. Okay, so when you switch to, let's hide this. So when you click on the modules and then you start editing this stuff and all that, maybe add graffiti and other things you want to add to it, but it applies to every single object. Okay, how do you go about it? So to be able to work with that, to be able to tweak it, let me switch to the geometry node workspace. This geometry node now, right? So save. Okay, so to be able to do that, I have to add in another node called the realize instance. So I'll search for realize instance and then I'll plug it in between. Be careful, guys. If your laptop is not powerful, you shouldn't do this. Okay, so now with the realize instance added, when I go to edit mode, it's taking time to load. That's because now it's becoming a mesh. It's selecting, but still just the base. Okay, so let me switch back to object mode. And then now I can now apply my geometry node modifier. Remember I said that I want to focus on this area. Okay, so now I'll apply my geometry node modifier. So now I can go to my edit mode. This will take time since the mesh is dense. But it's taking this time, and here I have it. So you can come to photographic view, go to wireframe view, and then you can delete some parts of the mesh that you don't want. I'm sure this is going to cost another round of arguing. Of course it did. So I thought it was going to take that long, but it didn't. So I can have this selected and I can press X to delete. Well, you get the gist of things. So something like this is what you're capable of doing. Okay, so with this, you can, let's come back to the layout. You can actually, go to the walls, like select more, rather, you can create more material slots and you can texture this stuff one after the other if that's what you would want to do. That works out fine. And then you can also export this as an MPX file that you want to take to either Unreal Engine, Unity, Maya, or whatever 3D software of your choice. You can go and render over there, or maybe like you want to make a game, you can do that in Unreal Engine using this and all that good stuff. Well, let me open back the one we were working on before I came back here. So I wanted to render, and then I told you to use a sky texture, and you can customize it all you want. But I'm going to use a separate plugin for my rendering. I don't want to use sky texture. You know what? Let's use another plugin. Okay. So I'll come back to my layout tab, and I'm going to use where is this plugin? Okay, here you are. So I'm going to click on physical atmospheric lighting. Nice. Okay, so with this, I can hit render. Let me save. Go to solid view. Let me check my render settings. Okay, so you can even go on fab or sketchfab.com and download vehicles and populate your scene, put trees, wherever you want to do, you can do that, right? And then you can use render image. So I'm done rendering. You see? Like the video, subscribe to my channel for more stuff like this, and then hit the notification bell so that you get notified when I upload tutorials. Oh, I would like to see what you made. Tag me on Instagram, share your work with me. The link to my Instagram profile will be there in the description. Thank you and peace out. Catch you in the other one.